So, you're looking at Canada's first home savings account, the FHSA. Smart move. But right away, you hit the big question: how much money can I actually put in and when? Well, today we're going to demystify all of the contribution rules so you can get to saving with total confidence. Okay, so you did it. You opened your account. That is a huge first step. But it immediately brings up a question that honestly trips a lot of people up. What is your real contribution limit? Let's figure out if it's as simple as it sounds. All right, let's start at the very beginning, shall we? The second you open your very first FHSA, a specific rule kicks in for that first year. And this rule, it's the foundation for everything else we're going to talk about. And here it is, the magic number, $8,000. In the year you open your first FSA, your contribution limit is a flat $8,000. Now, the government has an official name for this. They call it your FSA participation room. Seems simple enough, right? But the really interesting part is what actually counts towards that $8,000. Now, you really got to pay attention here, because this is crucial. That $8,000 limit isn't just for fresh cash you're depositing. Nope. There's another major way you can fund your account, and understanding this is the key to really maximizing it. Let's take a look at Julianne's situation, because this is super common. She thought logically that she could put in $8,000 of new money and also transfer another $8,000 over from her RRSP, basically doubling her limit for the year. But that's not quite how it works. Here's the deal. Think of your annual participation room as one single bucket. It holds the grand total of any new money you deposit, plus any money you transfer in from your RRSPs. It's not two separate limits that you can add together, it's just one. So here's how Julianne smartly adjusted her plan once she knew the rule. She transferred $7,500 from her RRSP, and then she topped it up with a $500 direct contribution. See how that works? That combination of two different sources, the transfer and the new cash, let her perfectly max out her $8,000 room for the year without going a penny over. Okay, now that we've got the basics down, let's talk about a few other common traps people fall into. Getting these straight will help you manage your FHSA like a pro and, more importantly, avoid some really costly mistakes. Nayeon's situation brings up another great question. She opened FHSAs at two different banks and thought, does this mean I get two separate $8,000 limits? The answer is a hard no. That $8,000 limit is tied to you, the person, not the account. So the total amount you put into all of your FHSAs combined can't be more than your single personal limit for the year. And this right here is the official definition of FHSA participation room. I want you to notice the most important part of that sentence, to all your FHSAs. It's one single, unified limit that covers every single FHSA you might have, no matter where you opened it. Now for some good news, and this comes from a fantastic question from Jessica. She was worried that if her investments did really well, the growth would accidentally push her over her contribution limit. Thankfully, you don't have to worry about that. Any investment income or capital gains earned inside your FHSA, it doesn't count towards your limit at all. It's only the money you actively put in yourself that counts. So, what happens if you mess up and put in too much? This is something you really, really want to avoid, because the consequences aren't just a slap on the wrist. They're direct and they're financial. Let's walk through Carla's story here. Her room for the year was $8,000. Simple enough. But she put in $8,000 in cash, and then she also transferred $5,000 from her RSSP. That's a total of $13,000. This created what's called a $5,000 excess amount. Now, not only did that trigger a tax penalty, but it also directly lowered her contribution room for the next year. It's a real double whammy. And here's the penalty in black and white. For every single month that you have an excess amount sitting in your FHSA, you are taxed 1% on it. Trust me, that penalty can add up incredibly fast, so being careful here is absolutely key. Okay, after all these rules and warnings and cautionary tales, you're probably asking the most important question of all. So how do I find my exact number? Fantastic question. Let's get to the most practical part, finding your official personalized contribution room. And you know what? The best news of all is that you don't have to guess. You don't have to do some complicated math on a spreadsheet. The Canada Revenue Agency, the CRA, they keep track of all this for you. They are the single source of truth for your limit. So here are the exact steps to find your number. First, make sure you file your taxes every year. That's a given. But crucially, you have to include Schedule 15. That's the specific form for the FHSA. Once you've filed, the CRA will literally tell you your precise participation room right on your notice of assessment. And if you ever need to check, you can find it anytime just by logging into your CRA My Account online.
So there you have it. You know the first-year limit, you know what counts towards it, you know the pitfalls to watch out for, and you know exactly where to find your official number. The only question left is, now that you've got this knowledge, how are you going to take full advantage of this incredibly powerful account to save for your first home?